feel like this headset is messing with my hair.
The Miami hair?
And I worked so hard for this Miami hair.
Oh, I know, me too.
Did you shave just to leave the stash for this occasion? Of course. Of course.
Yes, I did.
We don't do anything half-ass around here.
I don't know if in Miami it's custom to just have a mustache. It just seemed like when you're in Miami and you wear this kind of outfit and you're out and about, you're kind of a douchebag. And I associate douchebags with just the mustache and the deal or no deal patch.
The soul patch.
So you're going to buy a car.
I'm ready. You're like the soul patch.
You're going to buy a Ferrari and you're like, can I afford that? So it's a deal or no deal patch. Some might call it a soul patch, but if you're in Miami, you have no soul.
You know, it's funny you say the deal or no deal soul patch, because was Howie Mandel the person who did Deal or No Deal?
Yes, he was.
Yes, he did.
He had the thing.
And he has the deal or no deal patch.
He did.
Hey, I didn't invent the wheel.
Well, welcome back to the Friends with Cars podcast, Miami Grand Prix.
F1 Talk Miami. This was very exciting. We're by the way, we all got dressed up for if you can't tell.
We try to emulate Miami as best as we can.
I don't have enough chest hair.
Neither do I.
So I try to make up with like a white wife beater and then like the chain.
Yeah.
So but maybe we'll start growing the head, the chest hair for next year.
You know, the thing is we always talk about how the Formula One team bosses have their top buttons or like the top 2 or 3 buttons unbuttoned. And then it's like that. It's like, this is more like a Colombian cartel type look.
So what you're saying is it's not really a Miami look, it's an F1 cartel look.
There you go. It's a hybrid.
You know what? We might change the name of this podcast to the F1 Cartel.
Well, I am wearing a Tommy Hilfiger bikini because,
Spring break?
Someone's a sponsor of F1.
And it's Tommy Hilfiger.
It's Tommy Hilfiger.
Period.
So it works.
You also can't see my pants, but I'm wearing lime green pants that are just really.
Don't worry, we took fit pictures, so you'll be able to judge us on
I'll cut those in.
on our outfit, on the outfit. So yeah, it'd be nice.
They're a vibe.
So
I want to start off with just the start of the race. First turn, Max Verstappen gets a really good jump, gets a way better jump than Carlos Sainz, and ends up passing Carlos Sainz, which actually puts Max in contention to do what he did. And he got in first place. Want to get your guys' thoughts on that?
I feel bad, and when I say bad, I quote unquote bad for my boy Carlos. Mm-hmm. He's had a rough couple of races, and I think the beginning of this race, the fact that he didn't get a good jump on, it kind of just set the stage for the fact that he's been sucking lately.
Yeah, it is weird. He's had a lot of negativity. Like somebody put the boo boo mama juju on him, like crashing into the wall during not qualifying, but was it FP2?
The second practice? Yeah,
FP2, and I don't know. And I thought that there would have been a lot more crashes today, considering how the free practices.
Oh hell yeah! One safety car in the whole race. That's amazing, given what happened during the qualifiers. I mean, the practices.
Right. So, but no, I do feel bad for Carlos. He's definitely the number 2 driver if there ever was one.
Can we really be sad for him or feel bad for him? Because
no, he makes millions of dollars.
He ended on the podium, still got third position.
Yes.
The thing is I think Mattia Binotto expected higher themselves, but still a 2-3 finish. That's freaking amazing for Ferrari.
Yeah, I feel like if it ended up 1-2 with Leclerc 1 and Carlos 2, it would have been okay. You're right. He's still on the podium. He still got third, so he still got the points.
They're still ahead of the drivers.
I feel like something's going on. I think he can do way better.
Oh, for sure.
And I think if you look at last season, he was doing better than Charles on the car. So I think maybe that's why I'm expecting him to do better this season, and that hasn't happened.
Is it the driver or is it the car?
But you know what? Somebody said it in post-race, is some of these drivers are used to driving a harder car. So when they have an easier car, they don't do as well. So Carlos is probably really used to driving that hard car. And now that the car's a little bit easier to maneuver, he's probably like, I don't know what's going on.
And maybe that's what it is. I mean, Carlos is known for sending it. And the fact that he's got a car that can actually do it, maybe that's why he's, maybe having a little bit of control in the car. He does have the power, and maybe he needs to control that a little more. However, I would say he did not get a good start today. That's something to be noted. It's not that he wasn't driving the car well. I think Matt's got a fantastic start. As much as I hate the guy, he got a fantastic start.
Really good start. Okay, well, adding to what you were saying, in the post-race interview with Jolyon Palmer and Will Buxton, they were talking about why Lewis Hamilton has not been doing as well as George Russell, or vice versa. George Russell's been doing better than Lewis Hamilton. And one of the things that they did say was, well, George Russell comes from a team who didn't necessarily have the best car. It wasn't fully set up. Maybe if it was just a little bit slower. And he's going from a not so good car to a really good car, so he's able to adapt better.
Because they're having issues already.
Yeah, and then also with the new regulation change and the design change, but maybe Lewis is not as adaptable to this new car.
Right.
I agree with that. And also, I think we talked about it, maybe you brought it up or maybe you brought it up. One of you guys brought it up. It was the fact Lewis was probably expecting to be the 8-time world champion. He was on track to do that. I think that the last race, I mean, we all know. I mean, it's a fact, right? He was robbed, whatever. I'm not taking anything away from Max Verstappen. He earned the points that he earned. But at the last race, it seems like he was given the win. So I don't know what does to your psyche, what you were planning on doing. I think that must have some sort of effect.
Well, on top of that, they're literally making rules specifically for Hamilton. So it's hard not to let that psyche, like the whole no jewelry thing.
Oh yeah, that was interesting for this time around.
I wonder what the catalyst was for that. Like, why?
Right.
He's the only one that wears jewelry.
Yeah.
So if you come out and tell me, hey, we're going to put a stop on people wearing jewelry for the races, like I only see one guy wearing earrings and nose rings.
Right.
And it's Hamilton.
So
it seems like an attack.
And it's not that. What issue has it caused previously? Like, did he rip off an earlobe? Like, what is his problem? Like, what is the reason?
Yeah, they can't argue safety, right? It's because there's nothing that triggered that.
No, but I just think that it's hard for those things not to affect your psyche when they're literally making stuff up for you specifically that have never been an issue before.
Kind of like when they made rules after Verstappen won so that it wouldn't happen again.
Right.
It's like yeah, I'm going to put an asterisk after that win so that we know that that win happened.
Right, but how does you as a person not think like they're out to get me?
No, it makes perfect sense. And also, if you remember the protest, silent protest, I guess, Hamilton wearing the shirt for, was it Breonna Taylor? He was wearing the shirt, and then the F1 came out saying they're going to try to fix the proper attire for interviews, and it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Is it really that important? I mean, listen, I'm surprised they haven't said anything about Vettel showing up to the opening. The only guy wearing a goddamn T-shirt to the entire opening and looked like he just got out of bed and said, I'm just going to put on whatever I find. That was Vettel, a 4-time world champion.
Yep.
And I heard nothing about that.
Right.
Just saying, if you're looking for decorum, that's where you got to start.
Right. It just seems so specifically targeted that it's hard not to not only feel down about the sport that you're participating in, but also like your races, because it's like, who's standing up for you in that situation? Like, there's nothing that the team can do, and you can say you can protest all you want by wearing as much jewelry as you can to when they do their interviews, but it's still like that would be off-putting towards me as a person.
I think we have a lot to talk about Hamilton today, but let's look at the next point that you have, because I think we're going to get into that, especially with the team and what the strategies are.
Well, yeah, the next point was just the track being a new track, the track conditions. Obviously, none of the teams have any data for this track just because it's brand new. So how they addressed, the different conditions and the different types of strategies, because there are a lot of different strategies. Some teams start on medium, some teams start on hard. I think some of the drivers start on softs.
I don't think so. I think everybody was.
But maybe they went to softs. They went to softs thereafter.
I think, yes.
Yeah, but so there are a lot of different strategies. It was definitely a hotter day.
Very hot.
Very hot. They were saying 50 degrees Celsius, which I think is 124 degrees Fahrenheit track temp.
Right.
That was a surprising thing for me. And I think even in qualifying, we saw that yesterday in qualifying where I think 127.4 degrees Fahrenheit is the track. I guess I don't keep track enough of the track temperatures for most of it, but that just seems ridiculous.
That's a lot hotter than any track I think we've seen, because usually they do the hotter tracks towards the end of the calendar, which is like October, November when it's cooling down.
Yeah, I'd like to know what Abu Dhabi's track temperature is, but it just seems like being Miami and being that temperature and then the humidity. I think one of the comments they made at the beginning during the pre-show was that it was raining the night before and they were worried about the track, but yet after the rain, you can see the lines. The rubber was still there. So then the W Series had their race, and they had no issues with that. So it's interesting that it's a different track. The temperature definitely played a factor in there.
Oh, for sure.
I'm looking up to see what the hottest race has been because I know some time ago when they raced in Dallas.
Oh, that was hot too.
I think it was back in the 80s. They were saying that was at the time the hottest race, and drivers are actually passing out.
Oh,
what about Vegas? Isn't the race in Vegas back in the old days?
Oh, what about Long Beach? I feel like Long Beach would have been hot too.
Long Beach is pretty cool temperature.
Is it?
This might actually have overtaken it because what did they say that the
124 degrees.
Celsius wise?
No, 124 Fahrenheit.
Well, they say 50 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so what I'm seeing so far is 46 degrees.
Oh, so today might have been the hottest, and they were hot today.
Yeah.
I was just surprised that in general they said it was a one pit stop strategy, given the temperatures, and then some cars actually just did it one. I mean, if we didn't have a safety
Were they
car,
competitive though?
yeah.
Russell did a
that's
one
good
stop
question.
strategy.
Was that Russell was a one stop strategy?
Okay.
Hamilton only did a one stop.
Russell just got lucky because he got a safety car, which he did call out. He said, "Should we wait until the
Yeah, that was part
safety
of the
car?"
strategy.
I mean, I don't like the guy, but that was a fun call.
But we expected more, as well as everyone else did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys brought it up with the fact that there were so many crashes in free practice. They expected more than one crash or more than one incident, but nonetheless, it happened.
I mean, there was other little incidents, but there was only one safety car, which is crazy.
Absolutely, and that was shocking to me. Given the practices and what would happen, I was guaranteed there was going to be at least 2 or 3 safety cars.
Well, but especially because we have these tracks that have been on the calendar 10 years, and they have 5 safety cars, and then you get a new track and there's only one safety car. That's crazy.
I know we go back and forth about Bottas. He's definitely the heartbreaker when he was on Mercedes. With him being on Alfa Romeo now, he's doing better. I think he's definitely doing better on Alfa Romeo, but I think he said in an interview that he was just happy being or out-qualifying the 2 Mercedes. And I'll let you go to that, Gustavo.
Bottas makes it so hard to love. It's like I want to love this man, but at the same time, he makes it so difficult for you. Bottas is an incredible driver. He definitely has the skills to be an incredible driver. He has the skills to be a champion. I think he had dealt a difficult hand when he went to Mercedes. He didn't get the support that he needed to actually exceed and be a champion. I think Hamilton was being favored, and rightly so. He's a good driver, and
He's a 7-time world champion.
And Mercedes had a plan, and I can't really fault him for that. So it was just bad luck for Bottas that he went to a team where he actually helped the team so much, but didn't get a championship. Goes to Alfa Romeo. He's probably happy. I guarantee you he's way happier than it was Mercedes. But yeah, the sad thing is, in an interview before the race, they're asking him, hey, it must feel good to qualify ahead of 2 Mercedes. And he's like, yes. Now, they did say, probably not as good because you want to support your old teammate. But he did say it feels good to qualify ahead of the both Mercedes. And it just sucks that right before the end of the race, he gets passed by both Mercedes, and he finishes right behind him like he used to do in Mercedes.
That was such a Bottas thing to do, though. That was such a, not even to be rude, but he choked, and that's what Bottas does.
And the fact that we're saying that was a Bottas thing to do, it's savage, but it's true. And so it makes it, I love Bottas, but it makes it hard. It makes it hard. He's a heartbreak guy for another. He does it himself.
Yeah.
But how are you going to be that far ahead and then choke at the end? He could have won, but instead he decided to go closer to the wall. He went wide and let them both pass.
How he came out of that mistake without any damage, though, was crazy.
Yes.
Because he literally, the front right of his wing, the end plate actually brushed up against the wall, but his wheel didn't touch, the body of the car didn't touch.
Wow.
Absolutely crazy, but still a mistake nonetheless.
Again, he's a great driver. He's always just a little. He's just a penny short. Just a penny short.
I would also like to point out that I have not looked up the results of any race this season or slept through any race this season. I have been a good girl.
Now, for those of you who are not aware of this, Jessica here has a little issue with suspense. And knowing the results when there's no results to know, she can't just sit still and wait for life to happen. She has to have a plan or see ahead. So anytime we have a race and it's in the morning, if we wait even 30 minutes to see what's going on in the race, she's going to see the results before it comes up, which is wrong. It's wrong, and it should be illegal, and it should be punishable by some sort of law. But so far this race, I mean, this is only the fourth race, fifth race?
Fifth race.
So it's only been the fifth race, so it's a little too early to claim victory. But yeah, she has not looked up ahead of the results, so this is important.
So there are 22 races on this
22.
calendar. So we're not even a quarter way in, which I'm not complaining. But the fact that there are 22 races on this calendar, next year there may be 23. Wait, what's the cap again?
24.
Is it
24 is the cap, I
Okay,
believe.
so they can't have more than 24 races on one calendar. Whoa.
We have been drinking. All morning.
Well, we're in the middle of the race. We get a text message from my brother. He's like, what did he say? He's like, oh, that's the circumstance that everyone's been waiting for. You and I get the text message. What the fuck is he talking about? We did not realize that we had paused the race for probably 2 or 3 minutes. So he was ahead watching the race, and we get his text message. Holy shit, what the fuck happened?
A safety car, baby.
So just so you guys know, we're kind of intense about it. So if someone's going to take a pause to either go to the restroom or go get some water or get a drink, we will pause the race so that we can do that and not miss a moment. The problem is that now we're getting more people involved in this. I mean, we've been doing this for 5-6 years, but now people are starting to catch up. Thank you, Netflix, Drive to Survive. And now people are texting us and letting us know what's going on in the middle of a race. And if we pause for one lap, guaranteed someone's going to text us and tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what happened
What are
today.
the odds, though, that would happen? I guess
know.
odds are high because it's a race and anything can happen because they're, driving to the limit. But damn, my brother just barely started watching Formula One. He's watching it a little bit ahead of the we are. He sees the crash and he sends us that text. But segueing into the incident, the Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly incident.
Pierre Gasly, which I'm going to go all the way back to them walking the track. He wasn't even wearing an AlphaTauri shirt when he was walking the track. He was walking around like he owned
Miami.
the place.
He's a rock star.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Miami.
You got to let
So Lewis Hamilton can be the only rock star on the track?
Okay, because he did so well in his AlphaTauri today that he deserves to be a rock star? Absolutely not.
They're all rock stars.
Listen, Miami was a different beast, and depends on whose side you're on. It's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think Formula One just kind of broke through some sort of wall, and all the drivers are trying to realize that being in the U.S. and doing a race in the U.S. is a little different than any other races they've done. Everybody's a rock star. Everybody's getting interviewed. I think people are starting to get recognized.
Well, in Texas isn't a good staple for that. Miami was good for the drivers.
Miami's a different thing. Right. Oh, that went wrong all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
That's good for the outtakes.
Bloopers.
Miami is the Monaco of the United States.
Listen. Let's hold off on the Monaco thing. Okay? Just a public service announcement. If you're gonna spend $38,000 for a fake fucking boat on fake fucking water, I guess maybe it was a real boat on fake fucking water. Just save your money and go to Monaco. You actually get the full experience.
Yeah.
For $38,000, I guarantee you can get a ticket and have a better experience than sitting on a boat on top of fake fucking water. And by the way, those boats were in a terrible turn. If you're sitting on one of those boats and the car goes around, you see the car go in front of you, but you don't see him coming, you don't see him going. You see the front of it. That was a terrible seat. You wasted your money.
Whew, that was dark.
Sorry, I'm so
Back? Are you back?
I'm back. Sorry, I blacked out a second. What happened? I blacked out. What happened?
I think they missed the mark on the ticket sales for the Miami GP, though.
Oh, for sure.
They had started selling the general admission tickets probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Which, if you don't live in the area, that's not enough time to
It's
plan it.
not enough time for you to plan. And I brought that up during the race because I was noticing that some of the podium, not the podiums, the grandstand areas and the seating areas were empty.
Yes.
There were gaps in where people were sitting. I'm like, that does not look full.
And Texas is never like that. I mean, we've experienced it. Texas was filled to the brim with people.
I think last year when Texas happened, they had 400,000 people, and that was the most they've had. And 70% of the people there had never been to a Formula One race before.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate that. I think that's awesome.
I think it also has to do with price as well, because the Miami tickets were crazy priced.
Well, yeah, the initial release tickets were crazy
But
priced.
how much was general admission?
Probably still expensive. Probably.
Right.
I didn't look them up
I think
because
they were in the 600.
yeah, 600 seems about right.
But at the same time, if you look at what happened in Texas with everybody's there and they stay for the whole race, Miami's known for having fans who really don't care about the sport. They want to be seen at the sport, but people know that they're there. And I think I mentioned this before. The Miami Heat, when they had the super team with LeBron and Bosh and Dwayne, they had billboards and they would urge people to come to the game on time and leave and stay for the whole game.
Because it's just about the photo op.
People will show up in the second half and leave before the fourth half because they were like, yeah, I showed up and I got a ticket and went. And it's like they're there to be seen. They're not really for the sport. That's the unfortunate thing about Miami. I don't think a lot of people were there for the actual race. They were there for the event. I mean, they were selling packages for $100,000. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
That's just a status thing.
having said that, I do appreciate that it's gaining track and Formula One's getting more popular because that guarantees the sport's going to keep going and it's going to be sustainable.
Oh, for sure.
Going back to the Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris incident, though, I want to ask your guys' opinion. Who's at fault?
Gasly.
Norris.
No way!
I love Norris.
No! What?
Listen, I love Norris.
Jail.
I love Norris. But yeah, Gasly did leave the track and then he came back. But I think by the time he was back and Norris was going forward, I think Norris didn't give enough time, enough space.
Yeah, I agree with that. Norris, and here's why. Gasly's experiencing issues. He went off the track, came back on, went off the track again off to the right side, came back on. He's experiencing some sort of mechanical or car issue at least. Norris is behind
So
him.
he should have got out of the way.
Norris, but here's the thing: is Norris is in behind him, so he's got a full view of what's going on, knowing that the car in front of you has some issues.
But how does he know that?
He went off track.
He was
and
behind
he's
him.
and he's behind him, so he's got a
doesn't know
better
that he's
view.
got mechanical
But
issues.
either way, like, you know, the car's going off. He's going to come back on. He should have given him just a little bit more space.
No way. If your car's the one that's messed up, you should get out of the way.
He's not going to stay off track. He's got to enter onto the track still.
Listen, I'm still waiting for the stewards to tell me what happened and who's getting penalized for that.
I don't know
And
if
we
they're
haven't
going
heard
to.
No,
anything.
Gasly's at fault. Oh my gosh. Am I in the twilight zone right now? Are we joking?
Are we fighting about this? Let's do it. Let's
Are we
fight about it.
joking right now?
Listen, I'm not saying Gasly did not go off the track or might have contributed to the situation as a whole. I just think Norris was coming from the back, maybe tried to pass, but Norris is the one that hit the tire as he was pulling in. I think Norris was at fault on this one.
No. Oh, it's so wrong. All of it is wrong. I can't.
You know what? We're going to watch the replay. And then maybe on the next podcast, we'll update you on how we feel about how this happened.
No, they already penalized Gasly.
Was Gasly penalized for it?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
No, I don't think he was penalized.
We're going to look this up because I don't believe that's happened. Now, if it happened, I will eat my words and I will pound this beer. Now, listen, that might be
That's your
self-serving.
own.
That might be self-serving, but I'll do it because there's wine to be drunk.
I don't think he got penalized.
I don't think he got penalized at all. I'm not saying it was a right call or a wrong call. I'm just saying he didn't get penalized, so I'm going with my opinion.
I don't think he got penalized.
Okay, nonetheless, I still think Gasly's at fault.
Well, what I'm going to do here is, for anyone who does watch the podcast, if they get to this point right here, I'm going to put a clip right here. Here, it's going to go right here.
Neutralised rather than bringing out Bernd Mailander and the safety car itself.
So Gasly had gone wide through there, then wide again. So this is why I thought I saw a slow car in the back run. In fact, he has backed off, hasn't he? And somehow he's not realised that Lando's coming through. And the tyre comes off like a polo mint.
And I'm going to ask people to comment what their thoughts are.
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
You have to accept, though, that the fact that we're going to go with public opinion.
We'll let the masses decide.
I'll tell you right now what I feel about the public opinion.
Hey, listen. We're going to go with public opinion.
I could give a
Well, I
That's the public opinion.
want to touch up on the Mercedes. Russell and Lewis Hamilton, we had talked about maybe Russell being able to adapt better and Lewis not being able to adapt as much because he's been driving such a strong car for the past 7 or 8 years he's been with Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton said that the strategy that he was on was not working for him, or it was not working in his favor. Mm-hmm. Do you think and there's all these conspiracy theories that teams are favoring one driver over the next, do you think that Mercedes is intentionally giving Russell the better strategy?
Well, I mean, who has the green sticker?
So there's this thing in Formula One. If you watch, you see that one car has a fluorescent green stripe on the top of the car, and that symbolizes the second car or the first car, however you want to look at it. But usually the second driver is the one that has the sticker. Now Hamilton has a sticker in his car. He hasn't had it since we started watching 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago. He hasn't had that sticker on the car. But now when you see the car, he's got it. It could be a fashion thing. It is Hamilton. He does like fashion, and it matches the helmet and the whole car motif. But it seems kind of weird that he's driving, in essence, the second car.
But it's also the car that's doing worse.
Right. And you can say that that's the experimental car, but if that's the experimental car, why would you give it to your top driver?
Right.
Right.
So the conspiracy theory, whether it's popular or not, my thought is Lewis is being replaced as the number one driver at Mercedes. He's a 7-time world champion. He probably could have won the 8th, and they probably were riding that until he won the 8th and be like, this is great. Now we got to find a replacement. He didn't win the 8th, but they're still finding a replacement, and that's Russell.
And he's a younger driver. He's got more time ahead of him. He grew up in the Mercedes ranks. I think that's pretty true. And
He is a good driver, even though I fucking hate him and he's a douchebag. Wait, did I
So
say that out loud?
they're grooming Russell. They're
I
grooming
think
Russell to
they're
replace
grooming
Hamilton.
Russell for sure. And I do think that the strategy does favor Russell because Russell's long-term and making long-term happier is the benefit.
We don't necessarily know the exact inner workings of Formula One in each team. We think that may be the case to where they're favoring one driver over the next, and maybe they're grooming him. But you have to also look at the circumstances, the luck. They talked about that in the post-race interview. It's just circumstances and the luck. There were some circumstances that didn't work in Lewis Hamilton's favor, and obviously it put Russell at the top, or at least above him.
Yeah, there's a couple races where the safety cars haven't favored Hamilton. They favored Russell. It's just been bad scenarios all the way around.
But I mean, let's face it, we're only 5 races in. There's a lot more races left. Listen, if they fix the car, if Mercedes figures out the situation and fix the car, and they get a good car, I mean, it'll take 6 races for Hamilton to get ahead of everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And today, the Mercedes looked much better than any race we've seen so far this season. The fact that Russell started, at 13th or 12th?
I think he went up 6 or 7 places.
Right. He went pretty high. I mean, 2 races ago, the Mercedes wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yes. And also, Mercedes is still in the constructor championship.
Yes.
So the fact that we're talking about the Mercedes not having a good car, not having a good drivers, but they're still third in the constructors championship.
Right.
Yeah, but that's kind of the same place that Ferrari was in 3rd place last year, but they were like far in between.
Yeah, but Mercedes is in the 90s. So, I mean, they have a team, right?
closer.
Yeah, they're a lot closer.
I think
for
it's
sure.
157, 151, and then 97.
Yeah.
That's actually really close because the next one down is like in the 40s. So I think that's really, really close for them not having a good car, not having, a good season so far. So definitely achievable, definitely reachable, definitely they can still get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In my personal humble opinion.
Well, this topic is not as technical, but the commentators that they brought in, the people who were doing the interviews during the race, after the race, before the race, Americans.
Disgusting.
Well, I don't want to say disgusting. Let's take it back just a little bit. Just a little. I think Gustavo had talked about the fact that they're bringing a brand new race to the United States, and it's in Florida. They're just Formula One is trying to appeal to more individuals who are not necessarily involved or aware of Formula One.
Who was that man?
I still don't know his name. Damn it.
Yeah, nobody knows who he is. Well, none of us know who he is.
They said his name. We don't know who he is.
Yeah.
He was in every part of the race, pre-show, after show. Like, who was that man?
We're going to look it up and we're going to find out. And we might not find out today. We might find out before the next race. But yes, there was a guy the guy who interviewed the drivers after the race.
Literally asked the same question to every driver, talked only about the heat outside. There's so much more.
I don't know who he is. I don't think any of us knew who he was. Maybe if you're a race driver and you watch every race like NASCAR and Indy, and you might know who he is. He might have been a NASCAR guy. I have no idea. But it seemed like he didn't really know what he was talking about. He was just like the general questions.
Yes.
We don't like change.
Wait. Pause.
Crafty's the one that announces the game and announces the race. And the first time we saw the F1 broadcasters, when the app changed and now you can go to international, the regular F1.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, they suck balls. So maybe that we're not used to change, but the fact that there's someone there asking questions and they just seem out of place, it was kind of weird.
Bad questions.
Now, if you're a NASCAR driver, whatever he's known for, and you're the big fan of it, maybe that made sense for you because you know who he was.
You see how close he talked to them? He was like, yeah, how did you feel about the heat today? Was it good? Was it bad?
How's the car?
How was the car?
And also, who is the boss to call him Chuck Leclerc?
Oh my god.
Oh, who are you? Who are you?
Leclerc.
Chuck Leclerc? Who the fuck do you think you are?
For real? Isn't that crazy?
So it's again another trying to appeal to the viewers, and maybe Formula One's trying to break into the U.S. a little more. And maybe if you're the U.S. citizen and you're watching the race for the first time, you know who that guy was because he was known for
Something.
whatever.
And maybe it draws you to Formula One.
Yes, so and that's great. But as a
Exactly.
regular F1 fan who's been watching the races, it's cringy just listening to this guy talk.
I want to know what goes on in the mind of the people who are actually a Formula One English commentators, and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
No, they probably feel the same way. They're like, what in the world?
Now, if Charles Leclerc, I want to know what Charles Leclerc think about the guy calling him Chuck Leclerc in the middle of it. He might like it. I don't know. I would say, though, I did watch, I was looking at the Formula One Instagram earlier, and there was someone that said, like, we've been waiting for this. And it was, I guess, it's like a video creator, like a digital creator, maybe an Instagram creator. He was at his first Formula One in Miami, but he's English.
Is the guy with the camera on his head?
Yeah, I have no idea who that is.
He's just a YouTuber.
But the fact that Formula One put him on their main page as like, oh,
Wild.
we've been waiting for this. And I'm like,
Wild.
I have no idea who that
The
is.
collab. You know, you've probably seen his videos. He's English, but all he does is he puts a fish bowl or fish bowl camera lens on a GoPro, and he puts the camera on him, and he's just like, I can't even explain it. It's random.
It's like the guy that does the whole with the hands, you know, when he points.
Yeah.
Like everything, so you could have made it easier on yourself by just. I don't know who he is, but I've seen him, and I'm like, after I saw him, I'm like, he was in Formula One.
Yeah.
He actually got invited to sat in a car
Yeah.
and did this. To me, that's ridiculous. But
But the fact that, I mean, if you were going to interview Formula One drivers, you should understand the workings. Like, what did you do the whole week up to this race? Like, you should have, done research and learned
they
about
had
Formula
Massa,
One.
they had Montoya there. Why not have them interview the drivers? Yeah, that guy.
I've never seen that person.
Who the hell is that guy? He shouldn't be allowed to have a camera.
This is all he does.
I've never
He
seen him.
does these close-up views of his face, fishbowl.
That ain't for me. No, thank you.
I would like Kimi Räikkönen to punch him in the face.
Oh, Kimmy.
No, but that guy was not well versed. Like you said, Felipe Massa was there. There was other.
Yeah, Massa was there. Montoya was there. Even Fittipaldi, he knows. Fittipaldi was there.
At least he understands the inner workings of Formula One. You got somebody who does not understand, and it's clear that he doesn't understand.
We're gonna have John Cena interview the drivers.
John Cena.
You can't even see the guy.
Period.
Can't see him.
All my hoop earrings are hurting.
You need a refill.
Well, I have no other points. Did you guys have anything else?
No, I just want to say I'm very excited about the Miami Grand Prix. I don't know that if we're going to make it to Miami, given the hype that there's going on and what they do. Maybe in a couple years, it's going to be there for a while. It's not going to go away soon. So it's going to be there for a while. So we might get to Miami in a few years, not probably in the next couple of years. We'll say we are going to the race in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be around, hit us up. We'll be in the Netherlands in September for the race.
What are some good spots to go drinking in the Netherlands? We'd love to hear it.
Pre-race drinking.
Yeah.
Pre-race drinking.
Because we're not driving, of course.
Well, yeah, that, and I don't want to be spending $20 for a beer.
I have an unpopular opinion. I'm actually disappointed in this season so far. It has not been as exciting as I thought. I thought it would be closer for the back of the grid, and there would be a lot more switch ups. But I mean, it's no different than it's been in the last season. There's two teams dominating, and it's the same thing.
I feel like that's a bold statement, given that Williams has 2 points and has only been 5 races.
Okay, but Williams had points. Williams had points last season, no?
5 races in.
5 races.
But
They had
nonetheless-
They probably had 2 points at the end of the
They
season.
could get no points the rest of the season. It'd be the exact same thing.
Yeah, but they're on track to getting more
On
points.
track. That doesn't mean they're
on track to get. At this point, they're on track to get 9 points by the end of the season.
You're right.
Oh my God!
That's
9 points.
That is points. That is points.
Mick Schumacher was on track to get points today, and look at what he did. Don't tell me about on track to get
Mick
points.
Schumacher shouldn't be driving an F1 car.
Oh, so now you guys agree all of a sudden.
I do. Listen, he's got the name.
He's got
But-
the money.
He's got the money. He's got the name and he's got the money. Does not mean he deserves to be on the seat. And you said it before, and I guess I'm going to agree with you now. There's better drivers out there that should have an opportunity.
Period.
We need an American driver.
No.
I'd like to see an American driver.
Wrong.
I can't even imagine if we had an American driver.
You know what their sponsor would be? Bud Light.
Can you imagine?
I would have expected to have Coors Light be a sponsor.
Freaking
It's
good.
kind of, I mean, no, Heineken still has it. But by the way, we've done the Heineken situation, and we
I'll
did.
never do it again.
We had a unfortunately we
a
had
lot of
a
Heineken.
bad experience only because it was a hot day and we got Heinekens and they were warm.
I know in Mexico City they gave them warm, and that was bad. I'll never drink.
I'm a
Heineken.
bougie beer guy, and there's only a few beers that I can drink warm. Heineken is not one of them.
No, just Guinness. Guinness you can drink warm.
Warm Guinness is good. There are some porters are good and warm, but not Heineken.
Not.
Not Heineken, as we found out.
You're like, oh, do you want me to heat it up for you? No.
No. Oh, did you want it warmer? Maybe if you boil it and press my tongue. I'm not here for the alcohol. I'm here for the flavor.
Well,
All right.
all right.
F1 GP.
We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
See you guys in a couple of weeks.
Do it again.
Cheers.
All right.
Catch you on the flip.